Hello, everyone. I hope you're having a happy Monday moon day. We are still in a new moon phase for that Virgo new moon that was squaring Uranus that we had on Saturday, Friday evening. If you're over the other side of the pond, and it would have been very late in on the West Coast. Hey, little John. Uh, but it was early morning hours for us East Coasters. So I'm gonna talk about what you can expect for the week, your weekly astrological forecast, and then I will pull cards in the context of what's already happening in the energy. So rather than just pulling randomly, which those can be accurate, this is going to be more specific. And we're going to talk about what you can do with the energy, how you can navigate it. Is it still crunchy? Yeah. Um, Flower Beauty, if you sent me an email, can you? Nope, I'm doing a weekly astrology. So, but please resend the email because I don't have one. Actually, just when I wasn't feeling good yesterday, I went through all of my emails to make sure I was like answering. So I don't know what happened to it, but I don't seem to have it. So just resend it. So we're going to talk about how Venus is interacting. It's gonna move into Leo this week, which can have a lot of benefits. It's also it's having a sextile with that Uranus. So there could be good surprises around abundance, around love, um around money. And we could also be asked to look at what we value and how we value ourselves. So let's hop right into the astrology. And then this week specifically, which I don't do every week, we're going to pull just a few cards for love and relationship. That doesn't have to be romantic. I'm not big on prediction addiction and getting you all hyped up about what somebody else is going to do or not do. I want to give you empowerment, but certainly how we communicate in relationships and how we allow ourselves to be valued or not in relationships is also something that I'm very interested in helping people. Hi, Tanya. Very interested in helping people with the sense of knowing yourself well enough so you know what you're bringing to the table and what your needs actually are. And a lot of us from trauma response, this has been a conversation in client sessions a lot because of the astrology, but how we show up in relationships and how comfortable you are asking for our needs to be met. Or do we water that down from how we were taught to survive a household when we were younger, or survive school, or survive whatever? Um, so this should be a really interesting. I don't know what that noise is. This should be a really interesting week. If it's crunchy, then I'm here to give you tools. Let me turn the and navigation tools at that. Let's just do a little something here so that my astrology software is not backwards. There we go. And I was not here yesterday because I had a very sore throat and I was very low energy. I'm born closer to a full moon than I am to a new moon. And so new moons tend to drain me more than full moons do. So it was a combination of things, but I feel better today. I'm not 100%. So you all have me in the proverbial Venusian bedroom in my pajamas and just a little lip gloss to honor the Virgo season of me just kind of living in the most earth that I have in my chart, to be honest. Okay, let's share that screen. Let me pop out the chat so I can see what you all are saying. I did not expect a big crowd on a 2:30 on a Monday. Our sessions have helped so much. Aw, knowing what you want and voicing it, right? A lot of us are just kind of conditioned to let's do this transits to survive a household one way or another. So that could have been pleasing. You could have a lovely, lovely parent that had health issues. There could have been and so that would have been the priority to accommodate. And so we are so used to accommodating that we're not great at asking for what our needs are. I'm smiling because the software just went. There it goes. Okay. Here we go. I'm back again. This is what the week starts out as. Again, still in that you can't see me at all. I should be in the little corner. Am I not in the corner of the chart? Okay. All right. Good. But thank you. That's always helpful. Sometimes I have there's been times when I've spoken for 3 minutes to have somebody say like your mic's not on or we can't hear you. So I'm never mad at the information. So while we're looking at this chart, a couple of the things that I really want us to pay attention to is, let me get this. Sorry, I'm always wrestling 3 things at once. We have the sun at 2 degrees, newly in Virgo, happy Virgo season. We also, again, we're looking at things around the same degrees because we know that those planets are speaking to each other. Hi, Michael. Hi, Alicia. No earrings today because I'm in my pajamas. We're all having a very intimate gathering today. I do this in membership all the time, but not usually fully on the channel. We're going to look for things that are all around the same degree because we know then that those planets are all speaking to each other. So there's a big conversation. This is like a group chat, if you will, between the moon in Libra, which is an air sign, Pluto in Aquarius, another air sign, and Uranus in Gemini, another air sign. So we know that there is a grand trine as we speak. You got to take the day off. Yeah, it's been a little nutty. There's a grand trine in air. Now, when we have a grand trine in air, and of course, this is, you know, Uranus being the planet of liberation, of let's fuck shit up so that anything that can fall out, if you, for whatever reason, which we are not shaming, right? Because fuck shame, for whatever reason, if there's stuff that you haven't moved out of your way that's no longer working for you, isn't in your highest good, that could be because you're so nice, because you don't want to hurt anybody else's feelings. There could be financial reasons. There could be trauma response that your survival energy could kick in, and you could be more comfortable with the discomfort that and fixed signs will do this a lot too. um Aquarius, Scorpio, Leo, and Taurus. Um, the discomfort of what you're already acclimated to could feel less uncomfortable than the change. But whatever the reason is, anything that hasn't fallen out, that universe is like, all right, so we're going to make this fall out for you. That is having unrestricted flow of energy with Pluto, which is the planet of regeneration, transformation. It's like death. It's like Scorpio. So we burn things down to build them back up, deconstruct to reconstruct. It doesn't just burn shit down. There's reconstruction that always happens with Pluto transits. We're going to see that now out and about in the world. But because it is talking and making this grand trine in air to the Libra moon, which prefers politeness, it prefers not to have to pick sides. It prefers for things to run a little smoother, because it wants to have boundaries. It has to be fair, but it doesn't want to get ugly, like not even a little. It will if it has to, but it doesn't want that. I love right now, and I know Lori Rivers to be so Venusian like that with her Libra moon. Because I know her on a personal level for many years now, but that you are all getting such a beautiful taste of that on TikTok right now of her. When we have an air trine, three things, just think about a flux capacitor in here, like a big triangle, just unrestricted flow. It's air. We could be in our heads about things. We could be in our thoughts about things. Even though the moon is there, it's an air moon. So we could possibly be internalizing more than we're projecting outwards. If you have planets from 29 to like 4 degrees, there's probably no way you're not feeling this, whether they're in air or any other sign. On top of that, what you're too polite to move might come to a head today, right? Then we have Venus, which has just moved into Leo today. And by the way, happy birthday to Pebbles, who's often on here, whom I love so, 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 so much. Today is her birthday. We have Venus that has just moved into Leo. It's very magnetizing. It is very attracting what you value. And because of all the other 2 degrees, 0 degrees, 1 degree, right? We have Saturn. This is asking us to create things out of authenticity and to follow through and finish. It won't let us do anything but see the truth. And it wants to self-refine. It wants to evolve. It wants to serve at the highest possible level All of this is a group chat. Knowing what you value and living in a way that shows that that's actually what you value, and not valuing it, but living a different existence out of politeness, out of whatever other thing that you cannot move things out of the way, anything that is inauthentic. We also have, Pluto and Venus in an opposition. We have the moon and Saturn and Neptune in an opposition. There's a lot of strong energy today. And we still have not moved out of the Jupiter Mars square. And Mercury is also sextiling to Mars. That's two different group chats. I have been telling everybody it is time to be reflective and not reactive. In fact, avoid the conversations or anything else right now, because everybody has to deal with this, like, fakakta energy. Everybody has to deal with, like, the strength. We are having transits that forces us to take action and change the world around us. Those are not subtle transits. So I want you to imagine the type of energy you need to move a chair in your kitchen. Pick it up and just move it, right? That feels easy because it's just one little thing. Now I want you to imagine that you have to pick up the refrigerator and move it. It's going to take a lot more energy. It's going to take a lot of strategizing. It's going to take, hi Adva, it's going to take a lot of, it's a whole different level of strength. Leveraging the change. You probably need a lot more people. Takes only one person. A child could move a chair, right? But it's going to take a village to move that refrigerator. That's where we're at right now. Unfortunately, we all on a personal level have to deal with these changes. If we lean into it and use it to also change what we need to liberate from on a personal level, and we're reflective, and we've been doing that work. Lori's been talking about it. I've been talking about it. And we want to be able to say, oh yeah, it's just all going to get, we're at a crux of social change and social unrest because the change is so necessary. And if you just have to, like, get through every day, then that's what you're doing. And that's all you can do. Right. But if you've been doing the work and you've been reflective and you've been checking in on your authenticity, if you've been checking in on what needs to be liberated, so it doesn't feel like you're getting sucker punched by what falls out, then right now, when this clicks into place at 0 degrees, understanding what you value and how you identify with that, and are you fully living that life, can help you proactively liberate from anything that blocks you from fully living that Venus out loud in a way where you can openly attract in what you want. And how do you value yourself? Do I love the Venus moon sextile today? Yeah, it's fucking beautiful. Do I hope that no one is prioritizing what somebody else needs over what they value and how they value themselves? Yep. Today is the day with that Libra moon talking in that trine to Pluto and Uranus to liberate yourself from anything that would make you value somebody else's needs more than your own, and not see it as selfish, because Saturn in Aries tells us it's not selfish. You have to put your oxygen mask on first. As we go through the week, we have a conjunction between Mars and Moon tomorrow. So the Moon moves out of that flux capacitor energy flow with Pluto and Uranus. Okay, great. You might feel that a little bit more today. Venus is still having that group chat with Saturn, Neptune, Pluto, Uranus, and the Sun. Just a lot. But now we have Mars and Moon squaring the Jupiter. Tomorrow is not the day to have the conversation. You're probably all thinking, Suzzy, when the fuck is going to be the day to have the conversation? Because every week you're like, this is not the week. Tomorrow is definitely not the day to have the conversation. Tomorrow is the day to put yourself in action, not just words, action. Tomorrow is a great day for self-care. Tomorrow would be a great day to make any kind of like anything with your moon water, if you're going to make like glamour magic, if you're going to do, I mean, this is a great day to create art, to be creative. It's probably not a day with Jupiter squaring Mars and Moon together to be reactive to anything, especially that makes you feel, hey, Zoe, especially anything that makes you feel like you're forced into a corner, like you are, anything that you've been holding back, anything that you haven't been saying as you're going in little, and this would be a day that you might possibly explode, especially if you feel protective over it, especially if you feel like it's not been fair. Now, if a moment comes to you tomorrow that you didn't go looking for, if you can pull back, write it, give yourself a chance to edit it, let that Virgo sun do its job, right? Again, it could be a little tense. It could be a little tense. As we move into Wednesday, the moon now is really, it's in opposition with Chiron. Only very few people are going to feel that very lightly. Listen, the other stuff is too loud. The other stuff is too loud. You're probably not going to notice that if that would be very subtle unless you have a 26-degree cardinal placement, 26-degree Libra or Aries. Then, I do. So then you might feel something might come up that you have a moment, you have an opportunity to help somebody else with something that you've already healed. That is most likely the way that's going to come up. Also on Wednesday, I told you guys last week, we're going to be in the square of Jupiter Mars for a minute here. And so that is challenging you to take action and don't hesitate. Don't let the resentment build up. Don't let it be passive aggressive. And I'm not accusing anyone of being passive aggressive. What I'm saying is that sometimes we think that'll go away on its own. If I drop subtle hints, that person will pick up what I'm putting down. If I tell a story where I'm doing, or I did what this person is doing now, they'll figure it out and they'll be like, oh, and then there doesn't have to be a confrontation. If that builds and builds and builds, that's not good. This is a challenge for you to take action before it's an angry moment, before the resentment has built up. This also can be money if we want to, again, dealing with other people is going to be it's going to have to be like a well navigated right? Unless everything's easy with somebody. And if you have somebody that's just easy, ooh, right? Good on you. Those are the best people. I would take this energy, this square between Jupiter and Mars, and use it for action, use it for business, use it for money, use it for manifestation, use it, right? And creating art. I would not use it for doing head-on confrontations, but I would also make sure that I'm not being overly passive aggressive or assuming that somebody else will end the thing, will take the action, will make the thing that's a problem no longer a problem, and you can just sit back and not have to do anything. That kind of expectation would probably not be would not go well. I wouldn't go looking for a confrontation, but I also would make sure I'm laying small but direct boundaries, kind and polite, which Mars and Libra is very good at until it pisses. That's, Mars and Libra is one of those signs that I don't, my easy person actually has Mars and Libra. And it's not like so fair, so calm, so whatever, until they're not. Because it's just an easier, I've never been on the other side of that. Nor do I ever want to be. Because it's the stew pot, right? And so, but you have a choice not to be the stew pot. Still dealing with the trine between Pluto and Uranus. That's not going anywhere for a while. And it's talking. So, while we're talking about these big aspects between these slow moving planets, that's not going anywhere for a while. We still have this trine between Saturn and Aries and Venus. You better be authentic and know what you value and not pretend to value something different, and feel okay advocating for yourself and your own needs. That's the theme of the week, and how that's going to bring like real love, like real relationships, real abundance, and that has a lasting effect. Saturn wants to make you something that stands the test of time, and Venus is the antenna, how we value ourselves and what we value and how we live that. That is the antenna that attracts in the abundance, whether that's, attraction or money, and also what we think that we're allowed to have. If you're told it's selfish or you don't have enough to offer to ask anything of anyone else, that's something to look at this week. And then, as the week goes on, the sun's going to pull away a little bit. It's going to stay in this kind of inconvenient conversation between Venus and the sun for a little bit. Again, still in that square between Jupiter and Mars, but the moon moves into Scorpio early in the hours of the 28th, which will be Thursday. And it's in a sextile for the early hours with the sun, which is kind of nice. By this time, you should have acclimated to the square between Mars and Jupiter. You should have acclimated a little bit to this trine between Pluto and Uranus, and where Saturn is sitting. Not just for this week, but because all of that has been there for a while. This day could feel very interesting. Early in the middle of the night, we're going to have a square between Moon and Venus. That can challenge you and to dig deep. And look at maybe what you don't reveal to everybody else that you really, really want. This is deep examination. This is internal. This is a good day to sit and write a list of like, what do I love about my life right now? And what could be better? What do I deserve more of? What do I want more of? And write yourself, like you used to have to write on the chalkboard. I don't know. I was not well behaved. I had to write on the chalkboard a lot, but I want you to write yourself a note that like, I'm enough and I'm allowed to have what I want and it's not selfish. Set a reminder on your phone. This is a good day to do the deep, like, worth work. Friday the 29th. It's a lot of the same. It's interesting because the moon is making a trine with the north node this day. And again, Thursday into Friday could just feel a little softer, a little easier than the early parts of the week, where it doesn't mean that square goes away. It doesn't mean the trines go away. It doesn't mean the outer planets having that big group chat goes away. But if you take the time to be introspective, this is where the week gets a little nicer. Also, August 29th, I believe that, hey, Kate, I believe that Matilda and Lori are doing something on Lori's Patreon. So if you're not a member of her Patreon, go join because it's awesome. But I think they're doing something kind of light and fun with astrology on the 29th, because I know we're not doing our Dungeons and Dragons that night. And then this takes us into Saturday. The moon moves, boop, right into an opposition with Uranus. Moon moves into Sag and locks right in Saturday afternoon. Yeah, I'll be doing a workshop at this point with my members. If you're not in membership, we have fun. And but this week we're doing this coming Saturday, we're doing a live hands-on workshop, and I'll make it a two-parter if necessary, about the rulers and then what that looks like for you and why it makes your chart so personal, why your chart is not the same as somebody else's chart, even if, you know, I was having that conversation with a friend. She's a Cancer, I'm a Cancer, she's an Aries moon, I'm an Aries moon. Our final dispositors and how our rulerships work makes her a much softer Cancer with an Aries moon, where I am I'm a little louder. So we're doing that fun workshop on Saturday, and I will help every single person. It'll be live. You can ask questions, whatever. But I'm excited for the teaching moon and Uranus in Gemini to be in an opposition, because that's really nice for a workshop. Information on the other side of the seesaw from beliefs. What have we been indoctrinated to that's belief, and what, you know, what information we ignore and what information we allow in to maybe tweak how we're doing beliefs right now, because, you know, Pluto's there. We're looking at things, we're transforming. This is very interesting. It's also that moon's making a trine with the Saturn and Neptune, both in retrograde, re-examining how we do authenticity and what is really real. This Saturn and Neptune is really going to help us deconstruct from some of the spiritual psychosis that seems to be running rampant everywhere. And just able to see the truth, not just about other people, right? Because we'll see that out in public. We'll probably see the war between beliefs and information, I'm sure, strongly that day as well. But for ourselves, looking at the truth of like how we address people and situations where we're not being honest with ourselves because we have a belief in something, rather than looking at the information as it is and allowing ourselves to live fully in reality without the expectations that just end up in disappointment, right? So that is the week with this beautiful Venus and Leo. I will be having my Venus return soon in the beginning of September. I'm looking forward to that. Everybody should know when their Venus return is. It's one of the things we look at in consults, in sessions, because it's so important. And you don't get one a year though. So it'll go a little longer than you'll get one in a year, but you won't get one every 12 months. It's not like a solar return. So it takes I haven't had one since July of 2024. So I'm excited for my Venus return. When we work with Venus, when we are healthy and kind to ourselves, we can express our Venus when we give ourselves what we need instead of waiting for other people to give it to us, and then calibrate our own warped sense of whether we're worthy or not. And that's why we're getting it or not getting it. Just give it to yourself, get high off your own supply. That's what we're going to be looking at. And we're going to look at, for all 12 signs, what you can do to help that have a healthy Venus and work this Leo Venus to the best of its ability. Because, you know, as the day goes on, Saturday, we're going to get a gorgeous trine in fire. So where we have Venus, the moon, and this Saturn and Neptune all in that flux capacitor trine, and that is fiery. It is passionate. We could see people going for what they want. So taking the week to understand what you actually want, what you actually value, is so important, so that when we get to Saturday, if people are making moves, it's in your best interest. You're your own best hype person, and that you're your own best wing person as well. So now we're going to pull cards. We are going to pull cards for each sign for what you can do to get that Venus healthy, because everybody likes a nice healthy Venus. And also, I'm just going to pull a card for like love relationships in general, because y'all like that. You do. And I just want to give you stuff you like right now, right? Because everything else shit is hard enough. So let me just give you what you want. And my Leo Venus really likes to give people what they want. And my Aries moon is like, just take it. That sexy background. So I kind of designed this. This is I used to use this for my Scorpio readings. It's very, with the colors and yeah. It was meant to be sexy. So I'm glad you like it, Kate. All right. If anybody can or is willing to take timestamps, that would be amazing. If not, I will just run back through. Let me just check the time now. 38:30. Okay. I'm like backwards on the screen. That's annoying. Okay. Aries. Just call it 39. Aries, what can you do to help be really nice to your own Venus? What does your Venus need right now? How can you best use Aries placements? I mean, you're going to have a trine. I always have a trine from my moon to my Venus, which is, I'm not going to complain about that. So whenever I have a Venus return, then I also have a Venus moon trine. Okay. Not expecting everything to end up. Here's the thing. Here's the rub. If you are a person who has either outgrown your relationships, because things are different, we understand self-development, we understand all this, we are encouraged to put in time and love to ourselves, not just others. That's a social construct that's been changing, right, over the decades. So when we have that, it can make us outgrow partners or just not stay in partnerships that we've outgrown the mirror use. We've out for whatever reason, right? Hopefully we're deconstructing the idea that longevity is stability and that we have to stay in miserable relationships or else we look like failures to other people, right? That being said, there are more kind of single people, also because, you know, women can buy houses. And we're just talking about this today. 1988, 19 fucking 88, until a woman could have a credit card without having a man's signature. 1974, before you could take out a loan or have a bank account in your own name. It's not been that long. Okay. So for many reasons, there are more single people than ever before. If you are not the couple from Up, right, till death do us part, if you are not the fucking Notebook, if you are not in that wonderful relationship like my one friend, that they just got there, they found their forever person in high school and good for them, right? And that they truly grow with each other. Then nothing has worked out yet. And sometimes we take that into relationships, that kind of dread of, or we want to keep something precious. And what I'm getting for Aries is that the idea that it's like perfect right now in its little curio case and its little, while it's protected. I don't know that that's helping you, you know? The fear of the heartbreak or the expectation that things will end the same way or that they'll end. Because what we do is that we look for somebody different than the last person, right? We look for those red flags that we had in the last person. And what we sometimes forget to do is also look at anything we have to process still. So to calibrate that Venus, allowing yourself the room that if it doesn't work out, I can leave it and move on to something that works better for me and works in my highest good. And at the same time, don't doom it that it has to end, and just allow things to be what they are with because Aries will hold on to, they'll take one they'll take one in the arm like a champ, right? They'll take that hit like a champ. And at the same time, they sometimes don't process it and don't let it go. They're too busy moving on to the next thing so that they don't look like a big old baby that they don't process properly. Your card for love is the Empress. So Aries, you got to move into receiving. Aries is very good at giving. It runs into the fire. It's very active. Me first, right? Like, I'll get there. Let me show you. Let me show you. And me first doesn't mean we're gonna always, you know, I'm the one on the table to be pleased. Do you think they're the active expression of that passion? To sit and be in receiving mode, which is probably a challenge for you, but try that in little ways all of this week. if something comes in, it is likely to come in for you in Scorpio season, Aries. And it might be with a water sign. Cancer and Aries are one of those signs that square each other because they're both cardinal, but they have a lot in common and they actually work well together. So if you're an Aries, it might be a Cancer up on deck for you, but it could be any one of the water signs. And it's most likely to happen in Scorpio season. Okay. Let's look at Taurus. And of course, these are all good, like sun, moon, rising, and correlate with the houses. So Aries is the first sign. If you have a lot of first house energy and so on, like sun, moon. My settings are all wonky today. I can't deal. Okay. Taurus, allow yourself to remake your decisions. You do not have to die on the hill. Move it back and then forward. Oh, okay. Oh, you guys are having. I thought you were telling me to move something back and forward again. Okay. So with Taurus, sun, moon, rising, second house, sun or moon. Also, if it resonates, take it. You're to go get what you want, you might have to leave something behind. Taurus doesn't always love change. I always say, like, asking a Taurus to change is like asking a redwood to uproot and walk out of the redwood forest in California. You may have to leave something behind that you formed attachment to, or that's become a little bit of a safety blanket, just because, and it could be something uncomfortable, but you might want to stay in the uncomfortable that you know. But if there is something that you really want that your Venus is calling for, it's asking you to let some things fall out. And so that is kind of when the ship comes in for all the things that Venus can bring to you. I'm going to have to pull a third card for timing. You have an I love you, Taurus. There's Ace of Cups here. But when I get an ace for me, that little hand coming out of this is universe is saying yes. Universe is saying yes. Like, so this is, and I hate the woo-woo expression of like divinely guided, but like, you got the go ahead here. Something that's meant for you, it can come in, but you just are probably going to have to leave something behind in order to come get this. But this is not something you want to shake a tail feather at. That's not something. Why am I saying that? Shake a tail feather. Like I'm an octogenarian. Let me just get a little timing on that. Ooh. Okay, that's interesting. Again, I'm getting both Aquarius and Pisces here. So whatever work you have to do, Taurus, whatever thing that you have to like slowly give closure to, I think that this relationship, this healing, what is gonna be unavoidable. And I think that if things have to be moved out of the way, by the time we're in Aquarius and Pisces season, you're able to like fully enjoy and participate in this Ace of Cups energy. Okay. Gemini. Gemini. Interesting. All right, you got 3. Gemini, you're getting the same thing that Aries got, where you need to be sitting in receiving mode. And I don't think that's something that you're used to. Or if you're used to it, you receive from people that you don't have attachment to. Like you'll survive. This is Gemini, Sun, Moon, Venus. And if you have either a third house, Sun or Moon. When you do attach yourself or like allow yourself to receive it is, or when you allow yourself to receive, it's with people that you're not worried if they go, they go, that you won't have the attachment where that'll break you. I don't know if you're comfortable receiving all the time from people that you would deem like somebody would want to stick around or quality. You got the it's time. There's a connection here. Gemini, Sun, Moon, Rising, third house placements. There's a connection here that maybe there's been obstacles. Obstacles are going away. And while the like what you should work on for your Venus and how to take best advantage of this Leo Venus is now, I'm gonna take timing cards for these. Hey Jazzy, did I say hey Jazzy already? And I was in a channel 2 minutes ago. So no, are we not getting timing? No, we're not getting timing for that, but the obstacles are moving. And it's important for you to be like quality people that you feel like really vibe with you and match, that you know your worth enough to allow yourself to receive. Okay. Cancer. Get one more. Cancer. How the overthinking is not great for your, these cards are being funny right now. For Cancer's reading, I'm wondering if I have to grab a different deck. There's something that you're maybe not fully participating in. You could be doing more to like show up for yourself in a way, Cancer. Because it's the same way that I said, like, Taurus sometimes will stay where it's uncomfortable because it's the uncomfortable it knows. This is the stress, and you would rather be in your mind stressing about something than being in your heart processing it, because that's way harder to function with. You could be in your mind all day, as long as like this is good, you can function. So one, you're gonna have to kind of stick your toe back in. So if that means like going on a dating site just to say no to people, but at least putting yourself out there, or picking up the other end of a conversation when somebody's in your DMs all the time and you're like giving one word answers and kind of pushing them away nonchalantly. I keep saying they keep showing me Bill Murray's face. So like, you know, baby steps back into risking, because you're going to deal with it different. You're going to deal with it different. You are. You're not the same person you were a year ago, 6 months ago, 6 years ago. Okay. What I see coming up for you for like love relationships is there is a very slow Knight of Pentacles on the fucking geriatric horse, which right? So if you have somebody that has been slow, if there's been like a conflict, either that's making this person slow, it could be that a conflict is done. It's almost like you're not used to things going your way. Something's about to go your way. And this person doesn't want to come around for just a good time. They want to be around for a long time. But there's some kind of conflict that's like over and like you won, but I don't know that you're used to. And that could be the reason that you got this stressed out card. Yeah. And it feels like for Cancer, it's not a battle that you had to fight. It's something else that had to, like, you weren't trying to fight, but something, whether that was that other person's inner struggle or something. And that, you know, any of these relationships can be like your best friend, a family member. You were just thinking that today. Okay. Leo, as Venus is in your sign, the Seven of Pentacles. You put work into something, you're not going to get immediate. Now I'm going to tell you, Saturday, it could feel like if you feel impatient, like you did something, ooh, like you were brave, you were authentic, you like said what you wanted, you gave yourself the love first, you got high on your own supply, you gave yourself your own acknowledgement, and then it's like, then there's this big pause, there's this big space, and you're kind of waiting for even though you did everything for yourself and you weren't waiting for somebody else, you thought maybe you'd get a little acknowledgement about it. You just wait till the end of the week. Patience, that you don't need somebody else's feedback or like reassurance that you did the right thing, is big with your Venus right here. Okay. Yeah, okay. One, there's two folds for like the love message for Leo. One is that you don't have to be perfect, and like we're always kind of healing things. You don't have to be perfect to be lovable. And the other thing is, just beware of somebody who comes to you very attracted to your light, your Leoness, and wants through osmosis and proximity to like, they don't know how to shine for themselves. So they want to, like, proximity to you would make them feel that a little bit for themselves, almost like you're a surrogate for their self-esteem. Just be careful about somebody like that. They might love bomb you. But like, you're a beautiful person now, and there's not like, yeah, again, more about receiving mode, but you don't have to hold your, like, you're not going to be a disaster in a relationship because you're waiting for some like magic feel like you heal everything. That we don't have to do that. Oh, don't worry about it, Kate. These are going so quick. Don't stress. Okay. Virgo. Let me put these back in. Virgo. Ate cream cheese yesterday, and I'm not supposed to be doing dairy. And I kind of forgot there was cream cheese because it was a dip. It's chicken and buffalo dip, but I make the best one because it's not soupy and gross. It's like gorgonzola and gluten-free wing sauce. But I think that's what did me in a little bit, and I can still see the inflammation. I feel like I feel all, yeah, I feel the inflammation. Reminder about dairy for me, and I miss it. I miss ice cream. All right. Virgo, you know that there is a big change coming for you. Like, everything seems a little upside down. Things could feel like it's falling out. Especially anyone in your life that has like fixed sign energy. Um, you are on a precipice. You're not crazy. Um, Big changes in a good way, but allowing those things to fall out, like, you don't have to save everyone, Virgo. And also, like, it's not a reflection on you in a bad way if things fall out. Virgo is particular, and edits a lot, not because they need perfection, not because they think they're better than you, but because they are of service. And so the ethics normally will be that I don't want to offer service if I can't offer it on the highest ethical level that I can. There can be some tie to Virgo energy to not feeling like, not being able to get like a parent's approval, or feeling like the only way that they were lovable was an exchange of service. And so they sometimes can leave people in their lives in all kinds of ways, because you're still trying to carry out that service. And especially if you feel like, I've worked so hard to have like the top quality information, let me give it to you. And letting that fall out, like, not your circus, not your monkeys, which is a very earth sign thing, as well. Now, as far as love goes, I think you're about to hear from somebody you have not, that you've been on hold with. They may have changed their phone number. You may have changed their phone number, but there is like, if somebody was in ghost mode for whatever reason, it could have even been to protect you from something. I don't know what I'm getting here. But something that was out of communication, I believe, is about to come back in, to communication. Let me just pull another confirmation for that. For Virgo, yeah, it's a win. Yeah, let the stuff fall out. Don't put your energy there, because you got something coming back in, and this is like a good thing, because sometimes people come back in and you want to be like, no one's home. Tried that. I'm a ride or die. I rode it till it was dead. It's on do not resuscitate, but this is a good thing coming back into communication. It could be an old friend too, but whatever this is, I mean, it's victory. It's for you. Okay. Libras. Libras. Let's see. What do you need? What is your Venus and how can you work this Venus in Leo? Ooh. Um, Inward intuition and knowing without having to prove to anyone else, because the proving to anyone else is a distraction from what you actually want. Ooh, that came in. Like the card came out and I barely looked because the whole thing played out. Yeah. Yes, you might know better. And also, you don't have to prove that to anyone because the proving it is the distraction from like truly having what you want. It's almost like I'm seeing you always have to like justify your choices or justify something, and so you're so used to doing that, you spend so long justifying and proving that now you've outgrown. Now you've absolutely like outgrown the old thing, but you're still trying to prove it to other people why that was a good choice. Don't do that anymore. And trust yourself, trust your intuition, and don't hesitate either. Okay. Let's see what we get for Libras for love. Okay. Something coming in, but there's like a slight obstacle to it, and that is for your highest good. Yeah. There's something that I do not want you to take personal, Libras. Seventh house placements. There's going to be there's going to be a little obstacle, like something is going to happen that no one planned. It's not going to be anybody else's fault. It's just going to be an obstacle. It loosens back up by Aquarius season. But again, I think you're also supposed to be calibrating what it is you really want and let go of anything else that's about what other people think or see, or you proving to people, justifying things. When we get the hangman, it's usually because we're being protected from something that isn't perfectly ripe yet. It is really nice by the time we hit January, which let me just remind you, it a blink since we were in June and we're almost in September. So we're not that far away. My cards are all jumbled. Okay, Scorpio, how you doing? Oh, holy shit, Scorpio. Okay. Best read of the day, which makes sense. You're going to have the moon in your sign this week. And also, um, that Venus is going to challenge you. And I always say like Scorpio Venus and Leo Venus, different, but not so different. They're the way that I said that like Cancer and Aries can go together well sometimes, because while they're in a square, they have a lot of commonalities, like the protectiveness and the passion. Leo Venus and Scorpio Venus sometimes are similar because they both really prefer loyalty. Um, so you might do very well in this week. You're allowed to have it all, Scorpio. You're allowed to have the whole thing. Now, if you have strong Scorpio placements, strong eighth house placements, you may be used to life like shit burning down and you have to build it back up. And that's tiring. It's fucking tiring. So you may have talked yourself out of the ability to like fully have what you want physically. And the 10 of Pentacles means like you physically get it. You physically are okay with money. You physically get all the people you love in the same home. You physically get to be happy. It's not just like, oh, I am happy in this connection and but I don't need it. Like I'd rather have it preserved than physically be experiencing. And anytime I try that, it doesn't work. Shit burns down. You're allowed to have it. That's your Venus work. Because until you believe you're allowed to have it, it'll be hard to let it in, let alone maintain it. But this is the happy ending card. And I always tease that, like, Scorpio loves a good happy ending. You may not be head over heels in love right now, but it's coming. I think you're getting this card for your Venus to let you know that don't push this away when you feel it. There's a second card here. It was stuck. Oh my goodness. Okay. So this is going to be somebody that you've dreamed about and you probably have told yourself not to. It could be, when I say somebody, it could be like a type. It doesn't have to be one person. This is a bonus card for this deck. That's great. All of a sudden I was like, that feels very thick. Yeah, it was stuck behind it. When you go to sleep, Scorpio, if this person comes in and you're like, I don't know if I should pursue this. I don't know if this is like a situation like running with scissors, because that's sometimes what I've done in the past. If you're having a hard time trusting your judgment because shit burns down, that's all humans. That's how I started this whole thing with go watch the Aries reading. If you're not sure, before you go to sleep, just say like, tell me in my dreams. If my brain feels too crazy to think about it, or like my nervous system feels like too stressed out to allow the thought of this crazy in love turning into the 10 of Pentacles, ask to have it come through in your dreams where it might feel a little safer for you. Okay. Sagittarius. Oof. Everybody probably wants those cards. Yeah, but that's your Venus work. Interesting. Not dissimilar. Better than Cancers, but not dissimilar. Okay. Sagittarius, what is the Venus work that'll help you the most? Okay. Same thing as Virgo. Let what's going to fall out, fall out. They're both mutable signs too, and you both have the, you both have Uranus squaring either of those signs right now. So it makes perfect sense that both Virgo and Sagittarius are getting the same card, which is let stuff fall out. Again, this might be even more prominent if they're fixed signs. Sagittarius also, while mutable and doesn't hate change, like actually they like variety and can't bore a Gemini or a Sag. But also sometimes they can be a little anti-conflict or believe somebody is gonna do better than they have shown that they're capable of. It's the believe somebody the first time they show you who they are. Those are the people that let fall out and allow yourself a real closure of that, and not just kind of like the Irish goodbye is what I'm hearing. Not that you owe them to keep going or anything else, but like have the closure conversation so that you're not in full dysregulation of waiting for them to pop up going, hey, what happened? Where are you? How are you? Like if you want to be done with them. And if you are not comfortable forming the words, find yourself a little Cyrano Divergiac friend. As a Gemini Mercury, I have constructed a lot of texts for a lot of people when they needed kind closure, and that's not their forte. So find yourself a friend. I'm sure you have a friend that could help you put together, the Dear John or Dear Jane letter. Let's see what you have coming in love, Sag. Not that many. Not that many. Okay. I know you want to tell whole Sag has a whole story coming out because it wants like 4 or 5 cards. It's just not fair to all the other signs. Here we go, finally. Okay. The love and relationship cards, and again, I get the card that you got to like calibrate your Venus really wasn't about anxiety as much, but I was feeling that for you, that like it's better to have the actual closure because you're good at a ghost, but it's better to have the actual closure so that you're not like anticipating the having to ignore this person again and again, right? Or be stressed out knowing that they're out there still wanting the conversation. And then the anxiety card in reverse comes out. It feels like Sag, you feel like you can't find somebody who's not a complete hot mess of nerves but also not boring. So like you don't want like Mr. Spreadsheet or Mrs. Spreadsheet or they them spreadsheet. If you like it, I love it for you. Because that would be boring and I just got done. But you also don't want somebody that you have to like constantly, that it feels like a caretaker job as far as they're nervous, because you may have your own nervous issues and avoidance may be the way that you handle that. So having somebody that's constantly looking to be maintained one way or another with their own nervous system and their own dysregulation is not, it might trigger you. Sagittarius is so lovely and they want everyone to win and they're Sagittarius and they know things. They're wise, they're fun, they're warm. But if you're asking them to be their counselor all the time, that's probably not a fun relationship for them. What's interesting is, so somebody's coming in that like doesn't already dealt with their own anxiety, right? So they're not mad at yours either, but they're not asking you to be the surrogate. They're not asking you to handle them or be their counselor. But also they're fun as fuck. That's the other interesting card. That's why I keep smiling here. They know how to have a good time. They might spend a lot, but they know how to, they might have it too to spend, but they know how to have a good time. But they're not going to ask you to like surrogate their nervous system, if that makes sense. Okay. Capricorn. What can we do to calibrate the Venus? Get your Venus real nice. Capricorn. Bunch of freaks. You like a nice Venus. I can say that to my Capricorns because they know it's a compliment. I always say they are not all work and no play. When they play hard. Capricorns are fun to go out with. Okay. That is interesting. You may be dealing with somebody that has a child here, Capricorns, but um that is your Venus card. I feel like for some of you Capricorns, you're already in a relationship and you don't want it to, like, you would like to keep it like it's great. It's probably great in the bedroom and you can have lots of fun, and it would be easier if it wasn't love, which tells me that, again, I would like you to write yourself a letter about why you 100% deserve love and that you are not unlovable. I think some people wanted out of you something completely different. And, you know, Capricorn is humanitarian one at a time. And I think that I'm feeling the energy of somebody that is like, listen, I just make it work, right? Like I just get down to the nitty-gritty and do the work. Um, and you've done this in a relationship but people don't, because you know Capricorns are really good at caretaking. They're like natural parents. So sometimes you end up parenting a relationship, and at first it feels good because you're like, I'm going to make a difference in this person's life. And what else says love? That is a Capricorn. Capricorn spends all their time and energy on you. That is tantamount to spending every single penny they have on you. That is their time, is their currency. So if they put time and effort into people and again, and that person did not want to show up for them that way, or they did not want to be changed, it feels like you've maybe just found a place in life where you're like, this works better. It's not you. It's just that you have to find somebody that wants to be changed. This is a long time coming. This is somebody that's not going to fight you. I feel like a lot of you are already in this relationship. I could be wrong. Um, if not, they're coming. You could be dealing with an Aquarius like moon, which would be so perfect for you. Um, but like, yeah, this is justice for you. It's a good fit. It's a good balance coming in. But you gotta, you can't sit in the story too of how other people didn't appreciate you. It was just not a good match, and just leave it at that and allow yourself the love. Okay. Aquarius. Ooh, Aquarius, it's asking you to deconstruct your issues with authority, because often Aquarius is like the perfect person to be the authority figure and doesn't want it. They don't want any part of that mess and the dichotomy that comes because they don't need. They might know the most. They might be the best person for the job. They might be the best person for to have the power, but they probably don't want it. You have to deconstruct two things. One, your relationship with power in general to help recalibrate that Venus and allow in, because I think it's almost like, well, if I get that, then comes the power, and I don't want that because I don't want to be put in that. I don't need all the pomp and circumstance. I don't need my ego stroked. The other thing is, I always say this: Aquarius will attract sometimes drama queens because, and drama kings and drama whoever's, because you are solution oriented. And so you'll find some people will find a problem for every solution you give them. And to them giving you a problem and you helping them solve it is the love they didn't get when they were a kid. And so until you deconstruct both of those things or one of those things, whether it's you keep finding people that like you can, like they have problems and you have solutions, and that's like, then they balance it out in other ways, or you just sit in like how wise yet forward thinking you are, and that it's okay for you to have the authority. It doesn't mean that you have to take on other people's stuff. I'm either dealing here with somebody who is used to people having a problem for every solution they have, or they've deconstructed that part, but now they're like just avoiding anybody that could need them or wanting to be an authority. And like, I feel like maybe I'm talking to somebody who's like sat back and tried not to, I don't want to say care too much, because of course Aquarius cares. There's a happy, it's the overcorrection, right? I talk about this all the time. Like if you had something that's like pipe cleaner material and it's bent the wrong way, you would like overcorrect it to get it to go straight. And we see that in society, right? Like we see one thing and then there'll be like a huge reaction to it, and it's the overcorrection. And we want to find the sweet spot. And so this, for you to deconstruct your relationship with power and authority, is helping you to find the sweet spot. You're going to meet somebody on the internet, and it's going to be in a way probably like, they're showing me LL Cool J and like Around the Way. Like you're going to be like on a like a meme page for some show that you love or whatever, like food page, something. And then like there's a dichotomy in the comments. It's like a witty repartee, or somebody gets your like weird joke that not a lot of people would, and they like finish your sentence, or they totally get it and you're not used to, and it is not expected. It totally happens on the internet, and but not looking for it on the internet. Weird. But this is Venus and Cancer, so this is like reciprocal, like they're weird meet you're weird. You're not looking for this, it finds you. You're like definitely not looking for it. And it's funny because it's not like you haven't done weird before, like in relationships. Like, oh, they're a little weird and I'm a little weird. That'll work. No, this is your kind of weird. Your very specific kind of weird. Like, I love when I say I'm strangely comfortable with it and somebody knows what that means. Right? Like, and that's not overly weird, but that's just an example. Like it's not just like, oh, they're quirky, I'm quirky, so this should work, because they won't mind my quirks because they have their own. This is, yeah. I'm almost getting an image of like later on in the relationship, you guys are places or with other people, and they almost find you annoying because you don't like you're finishing each other's, or like you say one word and then look a certain way and the other person laughs and no one else knows what the fuck you're talking about. Okay. Pisces. And then I need to eat something. Aren't I always saying that? Because okay, Pisces, you're amazing. Like, know your value. You are not a small speck in the giant cosmos. You are not that big of a deal. There's a lot of other people doing this, that, the other thing. Well, if that person's, I might be a little funny, but that person's very funny and they have a nicer ass. Like, no, we're not doing that, Pisces. Like, just sit. All of everything that is just yours is worthy. This is just a straight up, very simple, no fuss, no muss, just like journal that like you're exactly what you should be at this moment. And because Pisces is the sister sign of Virgo, right? Both of them sometimes will like overgive in the beginning of a relationship to like serve and show up. And for each of their different reasons. And for Pisces, sometimes they don't even mean to like love bomb. They're like bonding on a whole other level in the ethers. But if you don't feel all of your beautiful self-worth, all of your value, that sneaks up on the relationship later. And if you just feel all of your beautiful value, this is game changing. There's somebody kind of more reserved than you normally go for. Um, could be Gemini moon, Aquarius moon, or Libra moon. Could also have some Virgo energy. They're they're this is lady in the street, freak in the bed for Pisces. Kind of works for you. Which then I'm gonna double down on some Virgo energy. You get to reap the rewards of any work that you've done recently, but especially when you sit, Venus and Leo is about sitting and receiving. Should be about sitting and receiving mode because that is the energy of flow. That is the energy of abundance, is the receiving, not the chasing. You can say I chase, I don't attract, but unless you fully feel it, when the moment happens, it's cocky at first, which sometimes attracts them. And then the minute that you get attached, that you merge, then all of a sudden it's like making all the fancy dinners and everything. And you're doing so much to prove why they should keep you. Don't do that. Don't do that. This person's going to come in calm and reserved, and they're going to test like your sense of safety and security within the connection. Just sit back and receive. This is life-changing for you, Pisces. I like it. Okay. I gave you all love readings and Venus readings. Thank you for popping in. Thank you for watching. If you're interested in membership, all the join stuff is there. It's the internet. You got here. You know how all this works. If you would like to share it, that sharing is caring. That really helps boost stuff. And I think that's it. I love you. Know you love you. And that's the whole point of Venus, right? That's why I love you. Now you love you, because that's the most important love.